Hello, my name is Brian Cross, and I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer here at Postman. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Postman Enterprise API platform to enforce security, compliance, and other governance policies during your API software development lifecycle. API governance is you and your team taking control of the quality, security, usability, and discoverability of your APIs. The business benefits of effective API governance are obvious: higher quality, more consistent, and secure APIs delivered in less time at less cost. API teams face the same governance and compliance challenges as their peers in other enterprise software domains. Many enterprise software development organizations have embraced DevOps, DevSecOps, and automation to help these teams increase their velocity while also increasing their codebase's security and compliance posture. However, many teams focused on APIs still face significant challenges, including a lack of integrated automated security and governance testing across the API development lifecycle, APIs with inconsistent styles, naming conventions, and other issues that confuse potential consumers and negatively impact API discoverability and adoption, and manual linting and governance processes that are at once inefficient and slow and also prone to human error and oversight. In our last video, we covered how Postman enables your team to automate your governance processes and to maintain awareness of the governance posture of your entire API portfolio. In this video, we'll cover configurability. All enterprises need API governance, but every enterprise has their own specific requirements. We'll focus on how you can configure Postman to meet any governance requirement, including defining your own portfolio of governance rules using OAS Spectral Rulesets. Begin by logging into Postman and then clicking API Governance. Note that only users who are team admins with the developer role are able to manage API governance. Postman ships with a built-in library of over 25 rules covering common governance scenarios. I can expand an individual rule to learn more about its effect and implementation. You can import additional rules from Postman's built-in library by clicking the Import from Library button. Select one or more rules, and then click the Import Selected button. Note that newly imported rules are disabled by default. You'll need to enable them by clicking the slider on the right. Now, if we head over to the API editor, we can see that these new rules are immediately applied for your team. At the moment, I have 4 rules violations, but Postman immediately updates this number to reflect the rules that I just imported. You can also remove a rule from your team's governance portfolio by clicking the Remove icon to the right. Note that rules removed in this way are still available to be imported again later from the Postman library. Clicking on an individual rule shows the OAS Spectral Ruleset that actually implements this rule. You can't edit built-in rules, but you can create your own portfolio of custom rules to meet your organization's specific governance needs. Let's briefly review the OAS Spectral Ruleset format. The Spectral format is extensive and highly flexible. A complete description of it is beyond the scope of this video, so we'll just focus on the basics that are most useful for creating rules in Postman. Every Spectral Ruleset must begin with the rules element, whether the ruleset contains 1 or 100 rules. Next is the name element, which canonically identifies this rule in the ruleset. The description and message properties provide information that will be presented to users in the Postman UI and in other contexts, like CI/CD logs, about the rule and its intention. You can optionally assign a severity level to your custom rule sets. Severities come in handy for helping your API producers and testers triage violations, as well as determining whether an automated process like a CI/CD pipeline should fail or succeed if a violation is present. The Formats section defines the OAS specification versions this rule applies to. This is important because each version of the OAS OpenAPI spec may contain elements that are not present in earlier or later versions. The given property identifies the part of the API specification the rule should be applied to using JSON path syntax. in this case, the info object. The then property describes a function to be applied to the given section of the API spec, as well as options and modifiers for that function. In this case, we're specifying a field property to limit this test to the title property of the info object. The function element defines a test to apply to the element, in this case, a pattern match. Spectral includes a wide range of predefined functions like this one, and also allows user-defined functions. At the moment, Postman doesn't support user-defined functions, but this capability is coming soon. Lastly are the options for the function. In this case, a regular expression to search for in the target element. This rule finds the info section of the API spec and then examines the title property of the info object for the word API. The not match operator means that this rule succeeds if that pattern is not found and fails if it is. In other words, the rule fails if the title element contains the word API. To review, the given element identifies a section of the API specification to which this rule applies, in this case the info object, while the then property can include a specific field to further narrow the scope of the test, in this case the title property of the info object. Once again, click on API Governance from the home screen. Then click the Create New Rule button. You can type your rules directly into the Postman Rules Editor, or you can copy and paste from the editor of your choice. You can also import one or more rules in files from your file system. Once you've finished your new rule, click the Create button. Your new rule appears in the Custom Rules section. Remember that all new rules are disabled by default, so you'll need to enable your new custom rule before your team can use it. Heading back to our API, we can see this new rule in effect immediately. Here it is. This API contains the word API in its title. I'll click on the violation, remove the word API to remediate it, save my API, and Postman again updates the violations in real time. This video has been a brief introduction to how the Postman Enterprise platform can help you and your teams to implement a consistent, impactful, and sustainable API governance program by providing automation of and observability into the governance posture of your API portfolio. In the next video, we'll show you how you can configure Postman to meet any governance requirement. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful.